Okay, good evening, dear respected speakers, dear guests, and audience. Marking the 113th birth anniversary of Professor XuFancheng, organized by XuFancheng Culture Study Center, we welcome you all to our first virtual interactive session on Chinese culture and India-China cultural relations. I wish to personally send my warm regards to Yunnan Province, Dali City, and Zhongshan City for their help and support. Today with us have few important guests, Mr. Zhang Jiapeng, Deputy Director from Yunnan Provincial People's Association for Friendship with Foreign Countries, Mr. Zhang Laoshe from Fujian University, and representatives from Zhejiang Ocean University. I wish to convey my special thanks to Mr. Thong Xintian, President of Boao Calligraphy and Painters Association of China, Mr. Lan Yanling, President of Guizhou Cultural Research Institute of China, Mr. Dev Ratori, entrepreneur and actor from Xi'an, China, Mr. Lu Fei, host of Hanan radio and TV station, for sending their warm wishes for the success of this event. Thanking Ms. Sun Feng for her voluntary help and support. For the audience, you can raise your questions in the chat box. At the end of the event, the speakers may answer the questions. Kindly note, please be very specific with the theme of the event, of the topic of the speakers. I tell a few lines about the concept note of our event today. The main concept of this event, organized by XuFancheng Culture Study Center, is to identify and specially invite those remarkable individuals from India and China who are in the academic and cultural field. The speakers selected are those achievers who has a better understanding of the cross-cultural relations between India and China. They have experienced both the cultures and they are contributing in building bridges. Their achievements are the building blocks that will help the future generations enable to construct a sense of this beautiful world. These speakers are highly motivated, ambitious, talented, and most important, they succeed. We, XuFancheng Culture Study Center, understand and give utmost importance to the cultural and civilizational ties between India and China as our priority. Through the interactive event, we would like to examine the main elements of cultural and people-to-people cooperation between the two countries, India and China. Opportunities for rapprochement based on the areas that make possible the development of appropriate interaction, whether it is religion, traditional health practices, similarities in the political outlook, large expatriate communities, education, art, and tourism, etc. So to begin with, our first speaker is Dr. Zhu Xuan. She is an Associate Research Fellow for Center for Indian Studies from Shenzhen University. She got PhD degree in Department of South Asian Studies, College of Foreign Languages of Peking University in 2013, majoring in Indian religion, philosophy, and culture. From 2010 to 2011, she studied in Department of Philosophy of Delhi University for 1 year as a visiting scholar. She joined in Center for Indian Studies from 2014 and gave public elective courses as Indian culture, Indian literature, Indian society, and India and China in Shenzhen University. Her published books as co-author are Notes of Journey to India, Reflections of Indian Culture, Critical Biography of Professor Ji Xianlin. She joins in writing articles in Tan Yungshan, Central Compilation and Translation Press, Translation of Oriental Literature in China, and the book, A Heart of Rabindranath Tagore, Left in China. As Associate Editor, she presided over one National Social Science Foundation project on medieval Sufi faith in India. So I welcome Ms. Zhu Xuan to give the first speech.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Das. And I'm feel so honored to attend this conference in this hard time in China and also in India. we still have collectors online. So I think it's very lucky for us. Just 1 minute. I share my PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Oh, just wait for a moment. Okay, this is my topic, the pondicherry in Professor XuFancheng and Professor Tang Yunshan's works. Why choose pondicherry? We know the XuFancheng Culture Study Center established in Pondicherry. And I also I also loved the small town. I went there many times and also leave some very good memories there. So that's why I choose this topic. So we all know that Mr. XuFancheng, very famous scholars in our China, also in India, maybe. Professor XuFancheng lived at Pondicherry for 27 years, might from the 1951 to 1978. And he lived many translations on India classicals, works of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. He also wrote the English books on Chinese Confucians, philosophy and Chinese characters. He also writes some articles about Sri Aurobindo Ashram and Aurobindo. Did he write his life in Pondicherry? Not too much. So that's why that is my personal interesting to explore Mr. XuFancheng's real life in Pondicherry. So I visited there and did the field investigations maybe 10 years ago. So in 2011, I wrote one article about XuFancheng named Account of XuFancheng's 27 years in Pondicherry in Chinese, which was published in the International Sinology. I read many of the manuscript, notebooks, letters, and books of Professor XuFancheng that was perceived in 8 paper box in archival library of Sri Aurobindo Ashram. That is his book cover. He deserved this book cover himself. So this is all the books he wrote in English, but all introduced the Chinese culture, Chinese philosophy. So this is the archive library in the Sri Aurobindo Ashram. I also saw some of the scanned copies of the calligraphies and the paintings of Professor XuFancheng, totally 282 in a gallery of the ashram. I went to this is a gallery of ashram. When XuFancheng was there, he had some of the painting exhibition there for the Mother. And also in 2011, they also made an exhibition to remember XuFancheng's anniversary. This is XuFancheng's painting. There's a totally 282. So I went to the Chinese sector in Ashram Library that keeps Professor Xu's collection. I also made a catalogue for the connection. From XuFancheng's letters, I found his lives in work ties and spare time at ashram. He taught Chinese paintings, calligraph, and also did translation. He liked walking, he liked checking, he liked playing chess with his friends. Sometimes he also smoked. So in my articles, this is Professor Xu's house when he was living at Pondicherry. Yeah, that is some of the photos when he was in his house. So in my articles, I found a very interesting prose and a small short prose in his manuscript. The Paul's name is the Bing friends. In Chinese, he wrote in Chinese. So Chinese name is 豆子朋友，豆子朋友列传. This is very interesting prose. It's not like, it doesn't like Professor XuFancheng's others academic work. It's not like that. It's very easy. It's very easy and it's very interesting. So in which XuFancheng made a sketch for his friends. The friends, not the common friends, but the child friends. So the process was just a draft. And this draft was not included into the collection of works of XuFancheng, but it's very easy reading. And the writing is real in XuFancheng's another work. So that's why I picked them and wrote this in my articles. So this is the translation, translation by General University. The translated into English, not by me. It's not. It's translated by a doctorate student in Genu. So that's his translation into English. So I put the first 7 paragraph here. You can read it. Professor XuFancheng said it's not difficult to title the text as the biographic sketch of the empires. It's also to name it the aristocratic families. It's also inappropriate. So to title is a biography is appropriate, but it's not a biography of a certain friend to write a Bina Nakshana, but biographies, some Nakshana. So how many beings life has? That is very small children, so small, exquisite, and always stay in groups. No wonder it called as being. It's very small, so it's like a being. He said Pondicherry is a small place. The street is quite wide. Residential areas is not densely populated, and there's no police station. Every morning I go out and return to my apartment, taking the same road. I usually encounter my being friends either in front of the school or the church, full of spirit, as if the Murray has hated the street. Then what is universal, Nakshana of them, that is never changed. There must be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 3 more in small group discussing something, and atmosphere is quite tense. They certainly are on circles, and circles certainly are free than the riders. Therefore, if a slight advocate rode a cycle, he will take 1 or 2 on board, one and the horizontal spar, and the others begin writing in moving circle after being pushed in motion. You will send certain a box B, A box B. If not, then escaping after kicking him, and the B chase him in hot pursuit exit. So that is just the first 6 paragraph, and the others. He also described that the children to pick his mango, and he climbed the tree and sometimes do something bad things. And he also taught them how to use the brushes to paint, to write. It's very interesting things there. So now I will turn into the other scholars. The other scholar was Professor Tan Yunshan, who was the first dean of the Jina Pavan in Vishwapadi. In 21st November 1939, Tan Yunshan and his friend, Professor Shishi Kumar Mistry of Varanasi Hindu University, came to Pondicherry to visit Sri Aurobindo. In Mother's agenda, August 1989, we found Tan Yunshan's words who talked to the mother. Yeah, this is Jina Pavan when Tan Yunshan and the Tagore's established. So in mother agendas, Tan Yunshan said to the mother, he said, China is a very intelligent country. They would be able to understand Sri Aurobindo's writing. And I see nothing else that could save the world from the confusion. And he also, the mother said, his own opinion is that there's only Sri Aurobindo thought that can save China. So Tang Yunshan also, his friend, Professor Shishkumar Mishra, also read articles. The article's name is The Sri Aurobindo and His Ashram. He remembered Tang Yunshan's word. Tang Yunshan said, to China, for once he was conquered by a great India, Lord Buddha, but he's again going to conquer by another great India, Sri Aurobindo. When Tang Yunshan came to the Santiliketan, he wrote a long speech named A Winking of Consciousness, Sri Aurobindo's message to the world at the conference held on Benares Hindu University in 15th April 1955. This is comparative studies between Sri Aurobindo thought to Confucians and Yogacara in Master Xuanzang's translation. So the orange copy is now preserved in Tang Yunshan Sino-India Friendship Museum of Shenzhen University. So because for that, the limited times, I think I couldn't go further to detail some details, talk some more details about Tang Yunshan's work. But the Tang Yunshan's works will be published in this or next year. So at last, I must thank to the Dr. Spigidas and thank to the XuFancheng's Cultural Study Center and hopes that the XuFancheng Cultural Study Center could be a golden bridge to connect the youth of India and China. We hope that more universities and more institutes could join the online Chinese course sponsored by the Center for Language Education and Cooperation, CLEC. Yes, you maybe know this. So at last, we still wish the long live Sino-India friendship. Thank you so much. Sorry.
Not visible.
No.
Yeah, madam, can you stop the screen sharing? Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, thank you, Madam Zhu Xuan. It was indeed a very knowledgeable information which you gave about Professor XuFancheng and also about Professor Tang Yunshan. We really want to know more about Professor Tang Yunshan also, and we'll be calling you to Pondicherry also in the near future to learn from you a lot. You know, our students also from XuFancheng Center, they will be very eager to learn from you. You know, so thank you a lot for today joining this event.